Hello there. In my today's video, I'm gonna show you how you can use a framer motion in your application. Now here you can see I have an application over here, and now this one is without the framer motion and it looks better but not interactive. But whenever I'm gonna use the framer, it will turn into kind of this application. If I reload, see how it started from the beginning, and if I scroll down, see how everything coming set into the point whenever I am just setting that into the view. Now see, those all are the things or everything we're gonna implement using the framer motion. As you see, we will use that one, that framer motion. So after end of this video, you'll be applicable to implement that framer motion in your application. Now here is my project, which is running in my localhost at 3000. So first of all, I need to install the framer motion to activate into my application. This is the framer motion official website. You can go over there, and there is a lot of variant there. You can just go overall and read the documentation. For this video, I'm gonna let you know how you can implement at least the basic. So let's go to the get started, and here we will go to installation, and now let's install that one. I'm gonna install here just to check it, that one. Go to my package.json, and I believe it will just show up here after installation. Now you see my framer motion is up until here. So now it's ready to implement in my application, and to do that, this first one, it will be in my banner, as you see. So I'm not gonna come over here to show you everything, because if you go all over the documentation, you can read everything and see how it works. So basically, whenever I started to do the things, you will understand it better. So now, first of all, you see whenever I'm reloading, that picture is coming up from the left, this text is coming from the right, and also there is a kind of little bit distance over the timing over there. So we will implement that one first. So first one, it will be to our image. The image is over here. So what I'm gonna do, first of all, I have the framer motion. Now let's import that motion. I will use the motion from that framer motion, and now I'm gonna implement it inside my, I believe inside my image, the first one. So first one, it will be for the image, and this image, whenever you want to keep the motion, like whenever you want to implement motion inside a div or h1 tag or p tag, what you need to do, you need to type the motion and just put a stop and then period. Then it will just get that entire div as a motion div, because that image has a self-closing tag. That's why it's giving that. If I give that div as a motion, as you see, both div is taking the motion component, so it will be a render as a motion component. So now this is a motion component. Now this image, I want to give the initial time, like whenever it will, whenever the time it will render. See, whenever it will render, the image is somewhere, and then while in view, the animation is started, the viewport is also started, transition is also giving. So those things I'm gonna implement in here. So first, my first intention will be giving the initial, and you know the framer is installed, so it's giving me the pop-up. And now you need to put it on a true curly braces. That's the way we can put it in line JSX. So now first it will be the initial value. As you see, it is coming from the x-axis, from here also, not from the top bottom, right? So we need to implement that one is an x-axis. So initial value we're gonna give into x-axis, and I'm gonna give it minus 100, and this 100 is as a pixel, 100 pixel, okay? And also whenever it will be in that 100 pixel, minus 100 pixel, like my image will be here whenever it's hot loading, right? And I want it not to be seen, okay? The opacity will be 0. Like if I reload, see, it's coming from nowhere, and whenever it's coming over here, it's giving it sight. So I need to make that opacity as a 0, so it will implement in that way. So let's go over there. So opacity is 0. And now what I want to do, well, in view, like whenever it's in view, you can also give it in animate also, it will work just fine, but I will use that while in view. So let's go. While it's inside the view, what I want to be x equal to 0, and the opacity it will be 1. It should be seen there, right? And now if we go over there after implementing such, you see it's coming, but it's very fast, so we need to give a kind of transitioning, so it will be little bit better to see. Let's give a transition. Oops. Okay, and this transition we want to make a delay, and delay will be like a 2 milliseconds. I'm just want it to be a little bit a delay, and furthermore, and the delay from which type it gonna be, I'm gonna give a type which will be my spring, so it will be a little bit shaky, and also I'm gonna give it a stiffness, and stiffness I'm gonna give a 60. So after that, because if I do that, it will give a like shaky effect, little bit kind of dramatic effect. I'm gonna create that one here. So now the stiffness is 60, and also after the stiffness I'm gonna give the opacity, and in the opacity also I'm gonna implement a duration. I need to put it inside the bracket, so duration will be give it 1 second, and after the duration, what kind of duration I want to be easy in, so it will be smoothly in my application. And now after that also I'm put a duration of 1 for the easy in. Now if I save, I believe it will work. Now if I go over here, make a reload, and see the way the image came, it's a very slick. But if I go down, if I go top, also see it's working. So either if you just instead of the while in view, if I put that animate, it gonna work just fine, I believe so. Let's see. Yeah, animate is working, and it will work just first. So see, animate also is going on. So first one, I think believe let's go it with the animate. So whenever it will come in the first render, it will animate that one. So whenever you're going again, so it will not give in a viewport. So first one is animate 1. Now after the image, if you come over and see in the right portion, the all over the text button is coming with a in separation way, getting a little bit of delay. So we're gonna create that one first. First one which will be our H1 tag. That one also I'm gonna give a motion, and that motion, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pop up some of that animation effect. It's pretty similar of the previous one. Before we keep it in a -x value, now we are keeping it x value, so it will render from the right side. So let's see if we just make a reload, and you see. Now what I did actually, instead whenever you keep it while in view, it will work, but it will render again and again. Like if I make it false, the viewport, like if I go in the backwards and come in the front, I think I need to make a reload first. Did I save it? Yeah, I saved. So now if I go here, and you see every time it coming in the view, it will work like the way it's supposed to be. So what I'm gonna do, instead of while in view, I'm gonna use the animate, so it will just animate once whenever it's first rendered. But if you see, those things need to be always, like if I go in top again coming, so I will make those things in while in view. So now this things is working fine, and as you see, also my p tag will be the same animation, but there will be delay will be a little bit more. So let's go in my p tag, add the motion, and paste that one. And in that one, before I give a duration of 1, the opacity duration, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give a opacity duration of 0.6, so it will be a little bit a delay from the beginning. Like if I go over here and I click, you see, oh, it looks good. I think it's the same. Yeah, it's almost the same. So now instead of doing that one, also I believe I'll just put the same way. Let's do it with that while in view, the same proportion, just keeping it while in view. So let's see what is gonna happen. Oh yeah, it's working. Now I need to put that button and also the other component over here, and those component, it will be, first one will be yeah, the button div. So instead of giving in the button, I'm gonna keep inside in the div over here. Let's add it as a motion div, and also in the motion div I will just implement the same one. and that will be initially it will be 100, and the while in view the same proportion. Also just I'm giving a little bit a delay from there. Before it was 0.2, now it's 0.3. so what it gonna do, it gonna come little bit like after it's rendering. See, first, second, third, so it's giving a little bit delay proportion, so it looks better in that way. Now for the third portion, for the icon and other things, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna keep everything inside one div. Like my callback is finishing here, that is the second div over here. Let's add a motion over here, and inside that motion, what I'm gonna go, I'm gonna also implement almost the same value, and the delay will be just 0.0 millisecond, yeah, 0.04. so I think that will be fine. If I just re-render, as you see, it's so smooth, it looks better. So now we have that one as it's supposed to be in that way. So now we need to implement the other one, and that section is, I think it will be in who we are. Yeah, so now in here, what you see, this is this entire is the one portion, and this is the three portion. It's like a 3 div. So I need to positioning that 3 div, and then I need to render the 3 div the way I want to implement. And to do that, let's go to first add that the text portion over here, and in the text portion, yeah, first one. So first let's import the motion from framer motion, and first one it will be in the h2 tag motion.div, and now also that one here, it will be the same proportion, the same way. So you can go through that class, like the properties over here. Initial will be -100, and while in view it will be 0, opacity 1, and transitioning, give a little bit transition, and this stiffness and spring, it will just give a little bit a good effect whenever it's rendering. Now you see this one is coming good. And also what I'm gonna do for the p tag, I'm gonna also make it with motion div and implement is this portion. And now after the p tag, yeah, I believe after p tag, yeah, there is also a button is there. So instead of keeping in the button, I'm gonna keep inside that div. Oops, it should be inside. Okay, and that motion div also going through some of the class name over here. Not the class name, is the properties from the motion. So if we just make it not reload, if we go top, you see, and this one whenever is coming in view, see, while in view I keep that one the properties, not in animate, while in view. And why it's not stop after doing ons? Because in here we make it viewport ons. So whenever it will come in viewport, like after giving a refresh, whenever the first render coming and it's coming in the viewport, it will not giving me again, it will be finished until it reload. And you know, in a React application we don't have refresh, okay, is until we manually do the refresh, so it will never refresh inside the application. So now whenever in view only work here, here we stop it, so it's not working. So now also make it for this 3 div, and if we just come over in 3, you see this all are in a div. So this everything inside a div. So if we just make the div in a way, so it will be just work fine. So let's keep that entire div in motion, and after keeping that, just give me a second. Yeah, first let me see which one is getting. So I need to get that whole portion. So this one is, I think it's not that one, it should be the top one, or maybe, okay, this is the motion div, and this div for, because it's mixed up all together, so it's looks a little bit cranky. So if we go over, okay, this is the button, yeah, that's the button div finish. Okay, I already keep that. Okay, so okay, this is the p tag. Okay, Okay, I am in the banner, that's why I cannot find the div actually. So I need to be here. I'm looking in the wrong place, sorry. So it will be inside the motion div over here. So now as you see, this is the div containing I think everything. So I'm not gonna give like overall div, I'm not gonna give it. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give that in here, because as you see, first div over here, second, oops, first div is here, second div here, and third div is here. So this 3 div is manipulating this 1, 2, and that 3. So this 3 div we need to actually make in a way that we can use the animation over here. So let's give that div in motion div. And now what I'm gonna do, for the first one, I'm gonna implement this filo thing. Let's just paste it here. So initially it will be 100, from the x-axis opposite is 0, while in view I'm gonna giving that proportion. And if I save it, I'm gonna see, yeah, see, it's coming from somewhere, not from there. So now also I'm gonna put that other 2 div in motion div, and also I'm gonna implement some of the properties here, and the third one also I'm gonna keep as a motion div, and I'm gonna implement some of the properties from here. So now it's just a value in proportion. You see, one I make it in the y-axis, like top and bottom axis, and our others two I'm keeping in the just left and right axis. You can go through those properties, type the value, and try to manipulate, change it. It will work just fine. Or if you just follow through, it will be also fine in your application. Like as you see, if I render, it's coming from nowhere and giving an animation. Like it will always be appear well in view, right? Because it's not animate in ounce. So now also that will be implemented. See what we do also in this portion, and you see how simply, how very slick it's coming through one by one, right? It looks better. So we're gonna implement that one, and this portion, it will be in what we do. So let's go to my, now the same way you can also implement in your application. It will work just as it's working here, so don't freak out, you can do it. Okay, let's import the motion. Okay, so first one, it will be h2 tag, and for that h2 tag I'm gonna make it in a top bottom axis, like the y-axis. So if I save it here, and if I just see, it's giving me from the from the top, it's in my below 50, and then it's giving the same way, while in view it's giving me the proportion. And now I need to implement that one in my 3 div over here, 1, 2, and 3. No, it's not the div, that one. The div will be, I believe this one is the one, yeah. This is the overall div. So in the overall div, it may not work. I need to go through the, okay, what I'm gonna do, what we do, and then I'm gonna go in my first one. It will be my this one. Let's, not this one, I think I'm gonna give in a p tag, which will contain my as you see, that image, that icon is contained in the p tag. I give in a p tag. So this one I'm gonna give in a motion, and then I'm gonna implement some of the motion over here. Let's just go and grab that motion. Okay, so these things I already practiced and it's working just fine, so don't be worried. If you just type in your application, it will just work fine. So now see, it's popping up from nowhere. And also after giving that floppy things, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna also implement motion over in my h tag, h3 tag, and also I'm gonna implement motion in my p tag. So for that h3 tag, let's give that motion, and also for the p tag I'm gonna implement this motion. This is just the motion properties, and after doing that, I think for the first one it will work. As you see, we did only the first one. Yeah, now we need to do the other two, and other two, the properties will be a little bit different. See, it's coming like a little bit gapping over here, the time gapping, so we need to create that gapping also. So this is our first tip. is done. Now that will be our second div. So inside the second div, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start with my p1 over here. That so I'm gonna give a motion in the p tag, and that motion, first over, I need to make a delay duration from the beginning. As you see over here, I believe in the p tag the delay is 0.2, and over here the delay is 0.4. so little bit delay, like first it will appear this one, then it will appear this one, so little bit delay will be there. And now also for h3 tag, what I'm gonna do, this is my motion div. So for this one, I'm just gonna grab my entire motion div from there. Yeah, so I'm just implementing the same motion over here. As you see, if I just put in the top, so this is working. Okay, so now I need to implement this, all the same proportions, same properties I'm using. Feel free to just go through your application to implement that one in the way you like. So first is this is my first, this is the second, I believe this is the third. Oops. Okay, this is the third. Okay, this two, so that will be the last two. If I implement that motion, as you see, if I come over here, oh wow, this looks beautiful. So it's all about the timing, the way you want to keep the motion, the delay you want to keep. See, I giving the delay 8 in the last one, and the third one will be I think 6, and second one will be 4, and the first one will be 2. So that's the way you need to set up the motion, so it will work just fine. And now, yeah, that is the one we are doing. Yes, so now we need to implement motion over here. As you see, if we just come in view, this coming in from both side, so and that things will happen. This portion is about us portion, so let's go my about us portion. And now we need to give in one in the image, and another one will be inside the text. So first for the image, and first thing first, we need to implement the motion. We need to import it first in the top level. Just import it, and now in the image we need to keep that motion. And the same way, it will be a motion will be entering from the initial value. The initially it will be -100, then when it is coming in, it will be while in view in 0. The same properties, if you see, is the almost the same properties I'm implementing, and it's giving me the exact design I am looking for. See, it's coming in a very good handy whenever you are making the page interactive. So now what you need to do, this entire portion, I need to keep it from the right side. So I will just add some of the motion for this portion. First one, it will be the h3 tag I have over here. So let's implement motion over here. And for that one, I'm gonna just give that. And also for the p tag, I'm gonna use the motion. And by the way, whenever you are using motion, it will not make your application slower. It's very lightweight, so feel free to use it whenever it's required, but be careful while you are giving that properties. It will be a little bit hacky if you are not implementing in a proper way. It can freak out, and it can make your application be very, very slow down. So be careful, don't use any other properties if not necessary. So now if we go over here and just coming from the top, you see that's working fine. So now if you see from that static website we have, now we have a very good motion over here, and our website looks much more interactive and live, and it looks better than the static. It's not looks static anymore, it's implementing something different. So feel free, trust me, all the properties I implement over here in the motion, it will work in your application for your div, in image, everywhere. If you install motion properly, it will work just fine. And also if you want to just any other idea about how motion works, go to over here, get the example how it works. All example is over here. I just did everything from here, so feel free to come over here, run, get the overview, layout, how gesture work, how scrolling work while in view, while in hover, how it's working. Just try to figure it out and it will be just fine. So feel free to go and learn more from the motion and make your website more interactive the way you want it to be. See you in the next video.